Sometimes we want to do some math operations, and the answer that the computer comes up with is a little bit weird. So I want to show you an example. Let's say I want to average the two numbers 2 and 5. So I'm going to do the math there. 2 plus 5 divided by 2 should give me their average. Let's run it and see what the computer comes up with. 3. And that's not quite right, Because 2 plus 5 is 7, divided by 2 is 3.5. So what's happened here is the computer has done something called integer division. If my operands are all integers, and they look like integers to the computer because they don't have any decimal, then my answer comes out as an integer, okay? And that's going to happen every time you have operations with just integers. The result is going to come out as an integer. When I have literal values, literal numbers on my screen like I do here, there's a real easy fix. I just need to make one of them be a decimal. And in this case, it can be any of these guys. With order of operations, you want to make sure the first math thing that's happening, if there's division and multiplication involved, is a decimal. But right here, I can solve this problem by just writing 0.0, and now there's a decimal value in the mix. So when I run this, I get the answer 3.5, which is what our calculator would come up as. If I mix integers and decimals or doubles in a math operation, it does what's called type promotion, which means that the answer is the, let's call it more complicated or larger type. So the answer of this problem, because there is a double involved, is type promoted to be a double. That's cool if you've got literal values, but what if you have variables? So let's say I have num1 is 2, num2 is 5, and I want to put those guys in here. Let's do num1 plus num2. Let's see what comes out if they are variables. Run as job application. Yes. 3. Okay. Oh, and just for the sake of this, let's call this num how many, just so we have all variables involved. All right. So if these guys are all integers, I have the same problem. It's going to do integer division. It's going to assume that my answer should be an integer. Okay. So if I have a variable name, I can't go on the end of this and type that. That doesn't work. So what do? Well, I have to do this thing called typecasting. And the way I do it is I get right in front of one of these variables. I'm just going to do it to how many, because that's what we edited in the last version of this when it was literal numbers. I got to get right in front of it, and I mean right in front of it. So I can't be like out here, like past the parentheses. I got to be nudged right up next to the variable. And right here, I'll put a set of parentheses, and inside of them, I will put the type that I want to cast it to. So I want this guy to pretend to be a double just for a second. It's not actually changing this variable into a double. It's just saying during this math operation, pretend you're a double, so that the answer will come out and be in the right format. So let's see if that worked. 3.5, there it is. So again, when I do this, it's called typecasting, or sometimes we just call it casting and leave the word type off. But that's what we're doing, is we're saying, act like you are this other type just for a second, and mathematically it'll work out for me. Okay. I can do that to change an integer to a double for a moment. I can change a double to an integer for a moment. Basically, the mathematical types can go back and forth. I can't change a number to a string or a string to a number in this way, though.